Hello, it's Julie from Do Business Like a Woman, and today I am talking about overcoming fear and putting yourself out there in your business anyway. This was a topic that you guys said you wanted to hear about in my Facebook group, and I was meant to do a Facebook Live last week, but I got really busy launching a new program and I didn't have a chance. So I'm doing this video for you now, and I am in an Airbnb with kind of limited internet, hence doing a video, not a Facebook Live, but the result will be the same. I will talk to you about overcoming your fear, putting yourself out there in your business anyway, so that you can get the results and progress that you want in your business. And this is such a good, juicy topic because it's something that affects all of us, and it's actually something that's just part of the human experience. So what I will do today is I will share my perspective on this, and my intention is that hopefully you will get some insights, hopefully you will get some fresh thinking about, what this means for you and, your own personal way forward, because this is an issue we all deal with, but I also believe that it's just something that is part of the journey. So there's not really one size fits all solution as such. Rather, what I'm going to be doing today is sharing some ideas and insights, and then you can just take what resonates with you. And how these things work is something will resonate with you, and you'll get a sort of an idea or a thought about how you can apply this to your situation and how you can move forward. So that's how this is going to run. Fear of putting yourself out there in business is so common. We have fear of rejection. Like, what if no one likes my stuff? What if they reject me? What if they think I'm crap? We have fear of being ostracized. So what if I get rejected and I'm no longer part of the group? And in, not so long ago, times past, being ostracized was the difference between living and dying. It was about survival, right? So being ostracized meant that you could actually die. So that fear is programmed into our bodies, into our cells. So, it's no wonder that there's a little bit of fear that comes out when we're putting ourselves out there, doing something outside of our comfort zone, which business in its essence is, because it's probably something that you've never done before, created a successful business. And so you're stretching. And particularly if you've been an employee, you've been in that environment, it's completely different. And it is outside of most people's comfort zones. There's also the fear of success, and this one's not so obvious, but it's well, how do you feel about being more successful than your parents? What if you become so successful, will you leave your partner behind? Will you outgrow your husband or your partner that you're with? These are very, prominent fears as well. That can be there in our thinking. It can be there in the soup of our unconscious. Now, one thing I do want to say is that despite the fact that we all experience these fears from time to time, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. And a new perspective that I have for you, which might be a little bit different, is that, just because you have these thoughts, and people can often say, they're like limiting beliefs. We have these limiting beliefs. And I get that, I've thought that too in the past as well. But I think that's actually giving too much power to these thoughts, to be honest. A more helpful way for me of thinking about them is just, they're like one of the thoughts that comes up in a day, or they might come up multiple times in a day. But they're just one of all the thoughts that come up and that run through my mind, right? And so I don't have to make this big story about them. I don't have to make my fears be like a limiting belief or something big that I have to work through that's going to hold me back. I can just be like, oh, I'm experiencing some fear. That's interesting. Let me go and do the thing anyway. And I don't want to oversimplify it, but it can be as simple as that. And I think where we get stuck often is that we kind of get caught in our own thinking, and we feel like we have to go and work on ourselves. And, I must be really messed up, and I must need to do all this mindset work before I can progress in my business. And I just don't think that's true. I'm not saying don't do mindset work. But I'm just saying, when it comes to fear, identify it as what it is, just a normal part of the process, just a thought that comes up. You don't have to give it power. You don't have to believe in it. You just have to be like, okay, there's some fear. I'm having these thoughts about things I'm afraid of, or maybe it's more a feeling, but there's some fear coming up. And that's okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do the thing anyway. And you do it despite the fear, right? And this is what I'm doing all the time. Look, our subconscious are there to keep us safe, right? And they don't want us to change or stretch. They just want to keep us doing what we're doing, what we've always done, because they know that way we stay alive, because we've stayed alive up until this point. So the subconscious is not great at helping you to like move forward and, stretch and be successful in your business. But that's why it throws up this fear, and what's really interesting is, if you want a great role model of how to navigate this, have a look at small children, because they just don't have fear in the same way that we do. They will try things, and they don't, take walking for an example. They don't give it any meaning when they fall over a million times. They're not like, oh my God, I must have a limiting belief around walking, and it must mean that I'm not meant to walk. Walking's just not for me. They don't do that. They just get up and try again, right? And it's like there's no kind of fear, because at that point, they don't have all the conditioning and all the thoughts and thinking that we get as we grow older and become adults. So they just don't have that. So they just try stuff, and they fall down, and it's fine, and it's part of the process, and they get up and try again. So if we could be more like that, I think that would be really cool, and probably a lot more fun as well, a lot more pleasurable in the journey unfolding of whatever our business is meant to be. Right? So just a thought from that, we don't have to give so much meaning to our fear. We can be like small children and just notice and then get up and try again. And it can be fun. And the other thing to watch out for is perfectionism. If I waited, waving my pencil at you, if I waited until I felt ready to do things, nothing would have got accomplished in my business, including today's Facebook Live. So, cliche, but start before you're ready. It really is about leaping in and not waiting for things to be perfect, and not believing that they have to be either. Just trusting that, we're going to do some stuff. Some stuff's going to work, some stuff isn't, and that's okay. And not giving it this big meaning, right? It's like, if you try something in your business and it doesn't work, the temptation is to be like, oh, I must be terrible at sales, or I'm such a bad person, or like, no one, I'm worthless. I'm not worth anything. My knowledge and expertise is not worth anything. No one wants to listen to me. All this thinking, all this stuff, all this heavy meaning that we give to it. We don't have to. We can just be like, okay, that didn't work. And then we try something else, right? So I really believe that fear is just fear, and it doesn't go away, by the way. Like, it will always be part of the life experience. I haven't met a person yet that doesn't experience fear, at various times. So this is not about like tactics to not experience fear. I don't think that that's like real, but this is just about like, what meaning are you giving it? Because the time when fear can really cripple you and hold you back is when you give it this big meaning, and it prevents you from moving forward or trying something else, and you get stuck. Okay, so that's the only time fear is really a problem, is when you've given it this heavy meaning, and it must mean bad stuff about you, and must mean that, the future is bleak, and you will never have a successful business, and no one likes what you've got, and you are, you can't do this. This is not for you. When we give it that meaning, yes, it can mess us up. And I'm trying really hard not to swear, because in case I want to promote this video on Facebook, I have to not swear. I really wanted to, though. It's like, but I won't. So it's all in the meaning you give it. And the biggest mistake that people make is giving up based on these fears, giving up thinking that it's just not for them, or this thing that they want, they just can't have it because like they had this fear, they tried this thing, it didn't work, and that must be evidence that they were right, that then they're not cut out for this, or then it's not the right thing for them, or they can't do it. That's when fear can be a problem. But that is simply the meaning that you've given to it. It's nothing to do with like anything that's happened or the fear itself. It purely is the meaning that you've given it. And we're going a little bit spiritual here, a little bit deeper, but this is all about how life and reality really works, and the fact that our minds are projectors, not cameras. So I'll leave that thought with you to kind of percolate and see if you can really feel that for yourself. So yeah, not trying to root out the limiting beliefs and negative thinking because it's exhausting and can be ineffective, but just being aware that like fear is part of the noise, the everyday noise that we have, along with like other stuff like joy or excitement or, doubts or thoughts about the things we're doing. It's all noise. It's a bit like a radio in the background. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do things. Like you take the action anyway. And that consistency, that is how you build a successful business. People can do all different strategies, but one thing I can tell you for sure, if you don't do anything at all, if you don't take any action, your business won't move forward. So there does need to be some action, and that can happen despite how you're feeling. And you might be feeling fear, but you can just take the actions anyway, and some of them will work and some won't. But the actions that seem to really be good and like produce the most results for me and feel good too are the ones that are just really inspired from within, and they're kind of in flow, so rather than a 3-step strategy that you must follow, otherwise you will never be successful, which like might work for one person and not another, rather internally inspired action seems to really unfold beautifully and create amazing things in the world. And that's not to say that there might not be a strategy that you resonate with, that you can kind of take on board and use. If you hear truth, if you feel called to try something that somebody else shares, that can really work too. That can be guided from our inner wisdom. So yeah, just accepting that fear is part of our adult life, moving forward anyway. Knowing that if the fear becomes paralyzing, you've got lost in your thoughts about it. That's all it is. You've got lost in your thinking. So take a step back, give yourself space, breathe, and just, trust everything is unfolding as it should be. I know it's easy to say this stuff, right? But when you're in the grip of fear, it can feel very real. I get that. But if we can see that it is just our thinking, for me anyway, that's been massively helpful and it's been a game changer. Let me know how that's landing for you. Put a comment in the comments below and just let me know how that sits with you. Like, how's that feeling? Are you feeling any kind of truth in that? What are you getting from that? Like, what are you hearing? What are your insights from what I'm sparked by what I'm saying? I'm just looking at my notes over here. Often when we get stuck in the fear, stop trying to solve it. And I've had to really learn this lesson recently. I'm in a position with my living situation where I'm between houses. Like I want to buy, but I'm not quite ready for that yet. And so I think I need to rent again. And basically I'm between places. And I've been staying with family and I'm currently in an Airbnb and it's fine, but it's not ideal. And I just have had a real heartfelt longing for my home where it's, my cottage, and I can do my work on my business and just have a home base after quite a nomadic lifestyle for the last few years. And so I've been really wanting that for a little while, and for whatever reason it just hasn't quite panned out yet. And I've been now a couple of months sort of homeless, shall we say, not really homeless, but in transition, and really not getting any strong guidance from the universe. And so it's felt very slow to me. It's felt like, well, come on already, like show me what's next. But for whatever reason, it hasn't been the time yet. And I don't know what that reason is, but I'm sure that down the line in hindsight, I will be like, oh, okay, that's why that never happened, because, this other thing was coming, right? So there's always a better thing coming. But it's all this to say, it's very uncomfortable sitting in the transition, sitting in the question. When we have this desire, we know what we want, but we're not quite there yet. And we're sitting in the kind of period in between. And this is how it can be with fears, when you're creating a business and you know where you want to go and you're trying different things and some are working and some really aren't. And it can feel upsetting and uncomfortable and painful and scary and like, why isn't it working? And what's that mean? And, it probably doesn't really mean anything. It's just what's happening right now. And maybe the time's not right yet, but it will happen. And the key is, I think, just to keep moving forward anyway and like keep trying different things like a child with this kind of joyful, just like enjoying the process and just being okay with things unfolding in their own time and not making it mean anything if we have fear or if something doesn't work out as planned or if we fail, fail. That's just terrible, but actually it's really not. So, yeah, I don't know if my rambling is helpful at all. I hope that it is. I'm going to leave you with a quote in a minute, but first of all, I just wanted to talk to you about, I have a group program / mastermind group for 10 women. I've actually sold a couple of the spots already, so I have 8 spaces left, and this is going to be over the next 90 days or 3 months. It's for you if you are really ready to up-level your business and I don't particularly like the word up-level, but I couldn't think of a better word here. With my business personally, I've been going through massive up levels recently in the last few months again, in terms of income and consistency of income and where I'm going and the clients I'm working with. And I wanted to just open that energy up and kind of bring some women with me, because it's just been this part of my life, my business has just been so flowing recently and so enjoyable. And I just wanted to kind of, open that up and invite some women to come along with me. So if you are at the stage, and we know, if you're at the stage where you have something that you really want in your business and it's the right time, it's like you're ready to blossom and you can feel it. And maybe you've been trying to get there, or it's just a little tweak. Maybe you want more income. Maybe you want more consistent income. Maybe you want to be more discerning about the clients you take on and have clients on retainer rather than scrabbling with bits and pieces of income and people coming and going. Maybe you still have a part-time job or you're still in a job and you're ready to transition to doing your business full-time. Now, I don't make any guarantees about results because all of our journeys are different, but I would say that if you can feel that in you, that it's oh yes, yes, this is for me. Yes, it's time for that. And of course we can never know for sure when it's time, but if you're feeling a gut level yes, and you're ready to do this and you're ready to show up in the energy of just trying things, and some of them are going to work and some are not, but I will guide you. Okay, that's one thing I can say. Everyone's different, and I'm going to keep this group small so that I can work closely with each of you, just so that I can really get to know your situation, and together we will explore, what's going to work for you as an individual, what's the best solution for you and your business at this time. And I can suggest things. I have a ton of experience. I've been in this game 6 or 7 years now, and I've worked behind the scenes of many 6-figure companies. I've created a lot of progress myself, so I have a ton of expertise that I can bring and offer you, and I can coach you and guide you. But the truth is, we'll be exploring together, and this is a mastermind group. There will be other women. I'm selecting very carefully who is going to go in this group so that we support each other, and there will be networking. We'll vibe off each other, and ultimately you will uncover your own solutions, your own steps forward, but supported by us. And the most important thing is, it's going to be fun. This is going to be the energy of, being like that child exploring and trying different things. And it's like there will be fear, that's fine, and we can hold you in that. We can kind of lift you up, and there's space for that. But we're going to try things, and some of them are going to fail and some of them are going to work. But I promise you that if you show up and you try these things, something will happen. You will get some movement, and there will be some kind of results that will happen. And if it's calling to you, I'd love to have you with us. The investment is £150 per month for 3 months, or it's £400 pay in full. And it's a super low investment, actually, and I'm keeping it super low for a couple of reasons. One thing, I've experienced overstretching and overinvesting in my business in the past, and it can be very painful. And I didn't want you to have to go through that, particularly if you're kind of new in business. It might feel like a little bit of a stretch for you. And I've got a whole post in my Facebook group about this that you can read about my journey of investing. But I wanted to keep it like a low entry point because I just want to get going and coach and help you with this. And then secondly, this is a pilot program. So I'm offering it at this lower price, but I won't be offering it at this low price again. So if this calls to you, I invite you to reach out to me. You can send me a private message, you can leave a comment, whatever, or email me, julie@dobusinesslikeawoman.com, and we'll have a chat. We'll get on a call and we'll just see if it's a good fit. If you're right for the group, if the group's right for you. And if it will really help move you forward. So I just had my business coach in my head then saying, do a really clear call to action, and I just didn't. I gave you about 3 different ways to contact me. So don't do it that way, people. But no, it's fine. Like, just reach out. You can private message me and we'll get on a call and have a chat. So that's everything I had to say. I just want to leave you with a Marianne Williamson quote about fear that I love. And that is, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. I love that quote. So thank you for being with me. Thank you for spending the time. I know how valuable your time is. Would you do me a favour? Leave me a comment below. Let me know how you have found today's session. And if the group program Mastermind calls to you, reach out, private message me, and we'll have a chat. Lots of love to you. Bye for now.